Hi, I'm Brent from Technical Training. Today we're here to talk about the Ventis MX4 gas detector. Prior to using our gas detector, there's a few things we have to look at. We're going to conduct a visual inspection of the unit, check for any dirt and dust, check for any damage to the unit. As well as that, we're going to check for instrument services calibration date and the due date, make sure the unit's inside test. If there's any issues, contact instruments, but the test dates will last for 6 months generally from when we get it. When using the unit, we also come with a quick reference chart, so we can refer back to that for any questions when we're using the unit. Otherwise, I'll go through today and I'll give you a demonstration on conducting a bump test. The gas detector itself has two buttons. We have a power button, which we can press and scroll through menus. As well as the power button, we also have a return button, which is like an enter key to enter into menus. To start off, I'm going to start the gas detector up. It'll take a little bit to start, and then it goes, once it goes through its startup process, it has a 20-second countdown. During the startup process, we just want to make sure we have adequate battery life, so we'll check the battery indicator as it's going through. So to start now, we'll hold the start power button, then we'll get a read on the digital display. We have the battery pop up, and you can hear the pump starting to work now, and the gas detector is going through its startup procedures. While that's happening, I'm going to have a quick talk to you about the test gas bottles we use. So these are the test cylinders which we're using to test the gas detector. As well as using them, you may have two different types of regulators. This particular regulator doesn't have a valve which requires us to open and close. It's activated by the pump, so once the pump starts sucking, it'll pull the test gases out of the cylinder. With this style regulator, which we have over here, we have a valve attached on the side. When we connect it to the cylinder, we just simply put it in, screw it in. Then when we go to use it, we'll connect it to the unit. We'll turn the valve here on the side to let the gases escape the cylinder. Our gas detector now has gone through a startup procedure. It's showing us a fresh air reading at the moment. So our fresh air reading here, we have H2S, hydrogen sulfide. We have LEL, which is our lower explosive limit. We have CO, which is carbon monoxide. Then we have O2, which is for oxygen concentration. The H2S and the carbon monoxide, they're measured in a ppm, which is a parts per million. The lower explosive limit and the oxygen levels are also, they're measured in a percentage. When we're using the gas detector now, we're going to have to zero it. So we're going to scroll through the menus here on the gas detector. So to get to the zero menu, we're going to press the power button. We scroll through. The first screen here will show us the days till the sensors require calibration again. So we have H2S 137, LEL 137, carbon monoxide 137, oxygen 180. Press the button once again. We'll get to the zero screen here. We're going to press and hold the return key for a second. Now our readings will be in zero. What we're going to do now is we're going to set up to go to the bump test. To conduct the bump test on the gas detector here, we scroll through and we'll end up on a screen which has BT on here. To enter the bump test mode, we press the return key. And now we're going to connect the test gas cylinder hose to the top of the gas detector. Once connected, we open the valve on the regulator here, and we'll go through and we'll test one of the four sensors at a time. Today, the first sensor which will be tested will be the hydrogen sulfide. If the speaker's a bit noisy, place your finger over the speaker in between the two buttons down here at the bottom, and you can watch as it displays on the screen each sensor, and it'll put up a P for pass or an F for fail. Currently, we're testing the lower explosive limit sensor, and it's displayed a P for pass. Now we're testing the carbon monoxide sensor. Once again, it's displayed a P for pass. And finally, we'll move on to the oxygen sensor. And once that's done its test, it'll display a P for pass as well, or an F for fail. In this case, we have a P for pass. Now on the screen, we have an image which shows all four sensors with P's under all of them to say that the unit has passed. What we're going to do now, we're going to turn off the valve on the test cylinder, and we're going to disconnect the hose. Sometimes now we may have alarms still going off because the sensors we need to acknowledge the alarm, which we'll do by pressing and holding the button. But as well as that, you may still have small amounts of trace gases inside the gas detector, which keeps setting off the alarm. So we may have to wait a short amount of time for those to clear. So what I'll do now is I'll press and hold the return key, and that'll clear the alarm. Currently on the screen here, we have our H2S, hydrogen sulfide, at 0.0 parts per million. We have 000 for percentage for lower explosive limit. And for the carbon monoxide, we have 0.0 parts per million for the carbon monoxide. And our current oxygen rating is 20.9%. Now what we're going to do, we're going to scroll through and clear the peak values. To scroll to the peak value menu, we're going to press the power button and scroll through. When we get to the peak value menu, we're going to have a mountain ridge with an arrow pointing to the top of the mountain ridge on the top right. To clear the values here, we're going to press and hold the return key. Now that's clear, we have zeros for the hydrogen sulfide, we have zeros for the lower explosive limit, we have 0 for the carbon monoxide, and we have a rating of 20.9% for the current rating of oxygen, which we're displaying in the fresh air. Before we go to use the unit now, we're going to scroll back to our current fresh air rating. So we're going to press the power button, scroll back through, and there we have a rating here. We're going to have a tick in the top left-hand corner, and it's going to display our 4 sensors rating of the current fresh air environment we're in. And that will always be displaying an oxygen percentage of some sort. So to turn off the unit, we're going to press and hold the power button. We'll get a countdown. It starts at 5 seconds. Once the unit's off, there'll be no display on the screen. You'll no longer hear the pump working in the background. If you have any further questions regarding the gas detector Ventis MX4, please contact us here at Technical Training.